We're going to put the roof system on this house. We're actually going to build 3 sections of roof. We're going to build our roof system over the garage, over the house, and over this front porch or stoop area. If I pull up the elevations, you start looking at these. See, there's a gable end here, there's a gable end over here, a gable end over here, and then all the other sides slope in. We have a 12-inch overhang on our gabled ends, 1 foot. And if I look around at the others, I have a 12.5 pitch on the roof. Oh, and the other roofs that slope have a 24-inch overhang. So we're working with 2 overhangs. 1 foot on the gable ends that do not slope, and 24 inches or 2 feet on the sides of the roof that do slope, and we're going to be working with a 12.5 pitch. So we'll have to remember that. So I'm in Revit. On the first floor, I'm going to go up to the roof level, and we'll still see the floor plan here. If you go over here and look, see it says underlay first floor. I wanted to, I could actually say none. We still would have the grid lines, and that's why I put those grid lines on here. Why I had you put them on is so that we have them throughout all the levels. It doesn't matter if the floor is underlaid or not, the first floor. So it's there anyway. We can see that the walls are all inside the grid lines. We're going to go up here to architecture. Whoops, that was right. Architecture and roof. Now what should come up is a basic roof, generic 12 inches. This 12 inches refers to the thickness of the roof. It's much too thick. We're going to use a 2x4 truss. So actually the thickness of the roof of the truss will be 3.5 inches. And then you'll have your OSB sheeting on top of that. So we could say 4 inches thick. So what I'm going to do is have that selected, go to Edit Type. I'm going to duplicate it and change it from 12 to 4 inches. Nothing magic about changing the name, but we do have to go in here then and edit and change this 1 foot. Make sure you put 4 inches. If you put 4, it'll be 4 feet thick. Alright, so we're ready to go. We need to check some settings. We are on the roof level. Up here, you can see in the upper right hand corner there's a check mark that says Define Slope. And there's an overhang that's set at 0. So I'm going to set my overhang, and I'm going to work just on the rectangle that represents the house. I'm going to say Define Slope and set the overhang at 2. It'll be 2 feet or 24 inches. And I can touch, and when I touch the walls, I want to kind of watch and touch the outside wall. So there's one there. Now, that slope is set at 912. We'll change that in a minute. And I'm going to go touch this one here. So I've got the top and bottom walls, 24-inch offset. Now I'm going to change this overhang to 1 foot and hit the check mark that says Define Slope. Turn that off so that I can touch this and this. Now there's my roof, and over here it says the slope is 912. I'm going to change that to 5. So all of this changed to 512. I can go touch them individually and change it, but that took care of it. If I hit the check mark here, that will finish the roof. And if I go to 3D, now it looks like the roof doesn't go all the way up. That's because of where the cut planes are set for the roof. So maybe before we go look at this in 3D, we'll go over here and go to the view range, and I'm going to set that height at about 9 feet and the cut plane at 8 and see what happens. So now the cut plane is up above the top of the roof looking down at it. And there's that roof. Now what I'm going to do is grab this wall and see up here it says Attach Top. Touch the roof, the wall extended up to the roof. I can go back to the other side Do the same thing. Touch the wall, attach top, touch the roof. Let's seal that up. Going back to the roof, we're going to go over the garage now. We're going to work with a 2-foot overhang on the front and back of the garage, a 1-foot overhang over on this gable end, but on this wall over here, where this grid line's at, we're going to use an overhang of 0. And we'll be right in there. We're going to be right on this line. We're going to be using that grid line. So here we go. Roof. It's using the generic 4. I have an overhang of 1, so I'm going to just go ahead and touch that wall. And it didn't define slope. Now I'm going to define slope and say I have an overhang of 2. Touch the top one. Touch the bottom one. Now I'm going to go up here and not define the slope and say I have an overhang of 0. And I'm actually going to have to draw a line because my wall's covered up. So I'm just going to draw a line from that grid point to the intersection of that grid point. I could have hid the roof, but it's just easier to draw the line. I'm going to pull this in here. Your sketch has to join at all the corners. That's what you're making, a little sketch. We're going to have a little overlap here, and we could get rid of that later, but I really don't worry about it too much. We are at 912, so I'm going to set it to 512 and hit the check mark. See, after the fact, I could come and touch this and change the slope also. Let's look at this in 3D for a second. And see, we get a little bit of a double line here, and like I said, I can actually come out and edit that out, but I really don't worry about it too much. See, the roof slips up under there and comes down right against the wall, just like it would in actual construction. I'm going to grab the wall, attach top, touch the roof. I'm going to go back to the roof level. We're going to put the roof over the front here. So I'm going to have the front of the roof will have, at this edge, we'll have a 1-foot overhang. Back here we'll have no overhang. And on the left and the right side it'll have a 2-foot overhang. And I'm just going to build a little piece of roof that floats out here, doesn't even touch this. You'll see how I do it here in a second, because I'm going to have it do some cleanup on its own. So at the roof level, go up to roof, and this time I'm going to just use the line command, and I'm going to watch these up here. So here's define slope and a 2-foot overhang line. I'm going to go from here to here. Well, 2-foot overhang's not going to do me any good. I'm going to have to move that out. And I can move it out 2. Forgot about that. And then I'm going to draw another line. And I can kind of do it like this and put it up here. Push escape. And I can go and grab this and change it to 2. There are other ways to do this, but this will work out. And I'm going to do one more line. And this one will not define slope. I'm going to set it out here. We'll see, maybe doing this one over. Touch that. Let's go from here to there. We only need 1 foot. And so these have to touch. And we're going to do one more line from here to here. Pull this back in. So if I touch these, they have a 9/12. I can change those to 5. And since I drew these individually, I'll probably have to change both of them. There's 5. And I'm going to hit the check mark. I may have to adjust the bottom of this roof system. We'll see. I look at this in 3D. We'll look at it straight on. It has, it's going to need, let's see, if it's a 5/12, it's going to need a 10-inch offset on it. So I can move it 10 inches, or I'll go back to the roof level. Because it's a 5/12 pitch, these actually need an offset from the roof of minus 10 inches. All of those lines. I'm going to use the control key and grab them. Minus 10. Let's see if that fixes it. Oh, 10 feet. Yeah. Not quite what I wanted. Minus 10 inches. Check mark. Now let's look at it in 3D. Seeing the eaves are coming out even. Since I drew that on the roof level as lines without any of the offsets, I just drew them as lines, it did not move them over and down. It did not give me this offset. And so if this is 2 feet, if I go over a foot and down 5, over a foot and down 5, I'm 10 inches lower. So out at this edge, I'm 10 inches lower. So that's why I had to put the minus 10 inches in there. Funny looking little roof sitting out there. If you touch this, a little icon comes up here that lets you join, unjoin roof. And if you watch the animation, what it says to do is touch one edge of the roof and then the surface you want to join it to. And now I have my roof. So usually when I'm in class, that's when I go to this. I say to the students, and they go, I say, roof, there it is. You know, like I'm Snoop Dogg or something. So there's our roof. We will put a few other things on here in a few minutes.